It's Tuesday and it's time for Falcon Focus. Welcome to this week's edition of Falcon Focus, episode 102, our fifth episode here in semester number 2 and our 17th here in season number 4. My name is Matt Mendel, back after a 1-week hiatus. And a quick note, we'll take the next 2 weeks off for spring break and then be back at it for 7 consecutive weeks beginning on the 28th of March. Our focus this week, in segment number 2, we focus on acrobatics and tumbling. We'll be joined by Alexis Feifel. We'll talk about the acrobatics and tumbling team as they get ready to compete once again this weekend against Trine. But at first, our focus is men's volleyball and being joined by freshman outside hitter Ben Kaiser. Ben, thanks a lot for your time. And I got to believe people call you Kaiser. I'm guessing you've heard it all throughout your volleyball career.
Yeah, definitely. It's Kaiser. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We got that one right. Now, when and why did you start playing the sport of volleyball?
I started playing volleyball in 5th grade, and I went to a Catholic grade school, so they had the team at grade school, so I played 5th through 8th grade there, and then in 8th grade I decided to play club, so that was travel volleyball, so then you play with different kids from the area, and so that really got me into it when I was younger.
Was volleyball your only focus? Did you play other sports growing up?
Yeah, I played soccer from when I was 4 years old until the end of grade school, and then high school I just played volleyball.
And you played at Marquette University High School, the Hilltoppers, and if anybody knows anything about boys volleyball in the state of Wisconsin, they know that the Hilltoppers, a tradition-filled program. When you look at Hilltoppers boys volleyball, in your opinion, what makes that program so strong every year?
Yeah, I think it's just the pride that comes along with being a Hilltopper and just knowing that you got guys above you that are going to teach you how to be a leader, and when it's your time, you do the same thing for the younger guys. So I feel like they do a really good job at Marquette of making sure that the leaders on the team are making sure that the guys are accountable for what they need to get done and just getting better every day.
And when we say that they're a tradition-filled program, every year they're in the conversation, if not right there, competing for a state championship. And you brought home a state championship your senior year. What are your memories of that senior season?
Yeah, senior year was a really good year. We had a good group of seniors there, but we also had some younger guys that contributed quite a bit through the year and some guys that stepped up really big for us in the state tournament.
In that championship matchup against West Tosha Central, you guys were actually down 2-1. How did you overcome that deficit? How did you overcome, backs against the wall in that environment?
Yeah, I think obviously state there were so many people there, and once again it came down to our coaching and our leadership and just knowing that no matter how down you are, we had a job to do. We were there to win, and just being there and knowing that we could win was huge for us.
Did it help having been at state the previous couple of years before that, just preparing as to know what to expect in the atmosphere at the Rec Center up in Green Bay?
Yeah, so actually my junior year we played at Burlington.
Oh, that's right,
where
with the
state
COVID
was,
year, yeah,
because of COVID. So that was actually the first time that group of guys had played at the Rec Center, but my sophomore year I was also on varsity, so I was up at the Rec Center sophomore year, so I was able to kind of help the guys and let them know, we're going to be in the locker room for a long time before the game. Don't get all antsy. Just settle down a little bit.
Outside of winning a state championship, what are some of your other memories or highlights from your time as a Hilltopper?
I think just all the tournaments. Going to tournaments with the high school guys it's different than college. You lose that whole tournament type of feel, and it was always great waking up early, and then you're in the gym until 4 or 5 because as a Hilltopper, we usually go to the championship at those tournaments. So,
who would you say is the Hilltoppers' biggest rival when it comes to boys volleyball?
That's a hard one. There's I would say probably Germantown.
Okay.
Germantown's in our conference, so that's always a fun one to play. Tosa East is fun to play. But now I think the game is definitely growing, and there's teams that are popping up that are pretty good.
I was going to say, those are some of the schools that are the usual suspects you see, whether it be at state or en route to state, the Germantowns, and you mentioned a couple others. But Concordia now, so you're here in the Mequon campus. What was the selling point? What brought you here to Concordia?
Yeah, I think Coach Madsen was really the biggest factor for me. I I got to know him this high school season, so we were talking, and I came for my visit. I love the team. I love it's on the lake. I love that, and just volleyball here is good. It's competitive, which I like, and I'm getting better here. So.
And a great conference for the Falcons to be in the NAC among the who's who nationally, typically 2-3 teams ranked on an annual basis. When you look at so far your first season, what's been the biggest difference, the biggest adjustment you've had to make playing volleyball here at the collegiate level?
Yeah, I think it's definitely different because, I'm a 6 foot outside, so there's definitely guys that are taller than me and guys that are going to be able to hit the ball harder than me. But I always work, and I'm just out there trying to outwork the people, and I feel like I pass pretty well. So I think passing is one of my strengths that I kind of play on, and once that gets going, try to figure out all the other fast assets in my game.
Would you say it's been a pretty smooth transition so far?
Yeah, I think coach has really helped with that, and we've got some good guys on the team that have really worked with me to try to get my game up to where it needs to be starting right away now.
And when you look at the breakdown, 8 times so far you've reached 10 or more kills. 9 times you've contributed 10 or more points. You've had a double-double, which came against Mount Union. So is there one performance, one match that stands out so far among the rest for you individually?
Individually, yeah, I think that game against Mount Union was definitely a really good one. It was at home. I was feeling good. We went to 5, which obviously helped for the stats.
Sure.
But, yeah, I think that Mount Union game was definitely one that stands out for me.
As an outside hitter, that relationship with the setter is so critical. And Logan Kebasek is the team setter. He currently finds himself number 2 in the conference in assists per set. Are you guys in sync at this point? Did it take some getting used to as far as timing goes?
Yeah, I think it definitely took some time. But, again, Coach did a great job with that, making sure that we were both on the same page with what the ball is that he wants Logan to set and the ball that he wants me to hit, and making sure that those are both what is happening. And I think Coach did a really good job informing us of what we needed to do.
Now, does a lot of that stuff get ironed out during the fall when you guys kind of have your training camp prior to, like, the full-on season prep?
Yeah, so we had that month of fall, and it was really big for us, especially with the freshmen that we have, just kind of getting in the gym, and this is our team now, and we just had to realize that. And I think once we realized that these are the guys that we were going to be fighting with and playing with, that we could really work some stuff out during the fall, and it's made this a lot more smooth.
Something that jumps off the stat page to me is over the last now 3 matchups, you've recorded a total of 4 service aces. Obviously, the serving is getting better, and the aces are starting to follow. When you do serve, is there a focus? Are you aiming for a certain spot in the court? Are you looking for something? How do you go about just the whole approach of serving?
Yeah, so I'll go back there, I'll do my routine, and then I'm looking at the seams, so in between their passers is where I'm really looking to go, is try to get both of them to commit to the same ball.
Okay.
And just try to put it right in between them. We're not really looking for aces too much, but we're just looking to get them out of system. It is nice when the ace falls.
Oh,
though.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and it has been as of late.
Yeah.
You've also had some big block performances, including a 5-block performance against Trine back on February the 3rd. Has the block always been a stronger part of your game, or is that something that's kind of developing?
Yeah, I think it's definitely still developing, but blocking is one of my strengths, I would say.
How great of a feeling is that when you block someone's, return and the ball stays in?
Yeah, it is. It's the best feeling knowing that you're up there and we got a point that we saved our defense from having to make a dig on.
Even those thunderous kills got to be fun as well. The thunderous kills, the momentum changers.
Yeah, I think for us this year, Coach has really done a good job of every point is worth 1. So they're really nice to get and they look really cool, but we're trying to win games.
How about at this point? Obviously, you're always improving. Is there one area of your game that you're really focused on right now?
I would say serving. I've been really focused on serving recently, just making sure I'm putting in a consistent ball and trying to help our team create more digs and points that we can put up.
Right now for the Falcons, when you look at the way the season's progressed, this is a team that's challenged themselves, a great non-conference on top of what's already transpired in that competition. The Falcons have 7 victories and 6 defeats as we sit here, 2 victories and 1 defeat in conference play, winners of 3 in a row. And I guess when you look at the way the first now month plus of the season's gone, where do you feel this team's at right now?
I think we're just starting to hit our stride. I feel like we're on a good win streak right now. Obviously, 3 games is pretty good, and we're going into like the heart of our NAC schedule now. So we're looking at some big games coming up, and I feel pretty confident.
How about the matchup on Thursday? That was a big win. I know Dominican's down a little bit by their standards, but still a win's a win against Dominican, a team the Falcons had never beaten prior to Thursday. Able to come away with a sweep here inside the John Book Fieldhouse, 25-15, 26-24, and 25-22. In your opinion, what was the difference in that matchup on Thursday?
I feel like we came out with a lot of energy right away. We had energy. We were at home, and practices had felt good going into that Thursday game, and I felt like it was kind of almost like our time, and everything came together, and we put together 3 clean sets, and that's what did it for us. We got a sweep, which was really nice. Got out of there in 3, so.
I mentioned that second set going 26-24. When you take a set like that, where it goes, bonus points, you win it. How easy is it to carry that momentum over versus if you lose that, trying to find momentum to carry over to the next set?
Yeah, I think especially that set 2 it can change the whole game, and just being able to find that energy back in that set 3 is a lot easier when you do win set 2, especially in extra points.
And against the Stars, you had a big-time performance with 11 kills, 4 digs, 3 block assists, service aids, contributing 13.5 points to lead the Falcons. Were you pleased with your play on Thursday?
Yeah, I was definitely pleased with my play. I think our right side, Spencer Herman, really got me open quite a bit there, and Logan was doing a great job distributing the ball. I think we all passed well, our libero and our other outside. So everything was kind of clicking, which really helped me perform.
Let me ask you about playing alongside Spencer Herman. What's it like? He currently finds himself 5th in the conference, averaging 3.23 kills per set tops on the team. But also, what's it like to play with another talented freshman in Tate Miller?
Yeah, I think playing with Spencer first it's really nice because a lot of the time I have one blocker up because the other team is focused on him.
Sure.
And not just his play on the court, but like off the court, he's been a leader. He always wants to go in and get extra reps, and he's the guy that you want on your team on game day.
Talking about Tate Miller, what's it like? Another freshman outside hitter.
Yeah, so that's been actually really nice for me because we're both freshmen, so we're kind of at the same stages of a lot of things and a lot of the learning process of being a freshman. So that's been really nice to have him out on the court and just be able to work things out with him.
Kind of unique when you look at the roster. Yeah, a lot of freshmen, also a lot of sophomores, so it's still a very young team, at least on paper, but it's also there's a lot of experience there, too, as far as some of the second-year players. How's the chemistry been between this team as the season's gone on?
Yeah, the chemistry is definitely increasing. I think at the beginning of the year, everybody's kind of feeling it out, and now that we've played a couple games, we've been on the road with each other, it's really getting to be a fun dynamic with the team, and then coach obviously helps with that, so it feels good.
You talk about, the chemistry and being on the road, and this team's about to get back on the road, 3 straight coming up here away from the John Book Fieldhouse. Friday at Rockford, Saturday at Aurora, the immediate future, and won't be here again until a week from Friday. That is the 17th of March. They serve up set 1 of the best of 5 at 7 against MSOE. And also on the horizon is a trip out east. You have Kane, but also NYU on the docket. I guess just your thoughts. I know you're getting used to this conference, getting used to who's who as far as college volleyball goes, but just your thoughts on maybe the road ahead for the Falcons.
Yeah, I think we definitely have some games that could be winnable games for us if we come out and play. And I think that's just been the biggest thing all year is we've been beating ourselves, and it's time for us to beat ourselves and the other team now. So I think coming up we've got some big games that we can show how good we can be.
Are you excited to go out east?
Yeah, I am excited. I've actually never been to New York.
Okay.
So that'll be my first time in New York over spring break, so that should be fun.
And some great competition, too,
Yeah.
to again, good measuring stick for the Falcons. Let's wrap things up by, just for you, I guess, goals you have for yourself, for the team, with what's left of this season.
Yeah, some goals for myself would definitely be to just keep performing and just give the team whatever I can give on the court and off the court, try to be a leader where I can. And then goals for the team, definitely win the NAC still. That's still our big team goal is to come out and probably win out in the rest of our NAC games, and then host a home playoff game, hopefully, for the NAC. That would be, I think that's a big goal for our team, is to have that playoff game here.
And that'd be, if it happens, the first time that's happened in the young history for the men's volleyball team. Ben, as always, appreciate your time and all the best, and we'll see you out here a week from Friday.
Yeah, thank you.
And again, you can see Ben and the Falcon men's volleyball team on the 17th of March, 7 o'clock against MSOE. Our focus now here on Falcon Focus will shift to acrobatics and tumbling, and we'll talk with Alexis Feifel in a moment as we continue with this week's edition of Falcon Focus.
Since 1978, Lutheran Church Extension Fund has had the humble privilege of supporting the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod in fulfilling its mission of sharing the gospel.
Thanks to our faithful investors, we provided thousands of church workers, congregations, schools, and organizations with the resources they need to reach more people with the saving name of Christ. It's what we do.
Because our greatest joy comes from seeing LCMS Ministries and her workers thrive, we will continue to make precious resources available, both today and far into the future. It's our promise to you.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund. We want to be part of your great and exciting work.
Welcome back to this week's edition of Falcon Focus. Overall, our 102nd episode, our 17th here in season number 4 and our 5th in semester number 2. We thank Ben Kaiser during our first segment, men's volleyball, and again, we wish them the best of luck as the season progresses. Again, a quick reminder, no show next week or the following Tuesday. We'll take spring break along with Falcon Athletics, and we'll be back at it for first of 7 consecutive weeks to wrap up our school year of coverage. That coming up on the 28th of March. Our focus now on acrobatics and tumbling. You've been joined by sophomore Alexis Feifel, kind enough to join us here on set. And I always enjoy talking with acrobatics and tumbling athletes because obviously there's no acrobatics and tumbling at the high school level, and so many of the athletes have, whether it be cheerleading, dance, and or gymnastics backgrounds. What's your background prior to coming here to Concordia?
I was a gymnast for 15 years.
15 years.
Yes.
How did you get started with gymnastics?
Well, I was 2, and my mom said I kept rolling over the floor, so she put me into gymnastics.
With gymnastics, when did you realize, okay, it's obviously at 2 years old, but was there a point where you're like, boy, I really enjoy this, and I'd like to maybe continue to compete in the sport?
I've always kind of enjoyed it, but I think freshman year of high school when I was like, okay, it's time to get serious if this is what I want to do. So then just thinking about that. But then senior year, I was like, okay, it's really time. Like, you need to figure it out now.
We'll talk about that in a second because I want to get to how you figured out Concordian acrobatics and tumbling. But with gymnastics, was there an area you specialized in?
I was specializing at bars, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Did that take some getting used to?
I was just never good at beam at all. And I really enjoyed bars, swinging around and flying. It was so fun to me.
Did that just come naturally for you, or did it take some time to get used to as far as, just being nervous, flying in the air, and all that could happen?
Definitely came naturally. I'm also short, so that helped.
Your bio on CUWFalcons.com mentions that you won a state championship in gymnastics in the state of Michigan. Tell us about that experience.
It was great, showing all of the hard work I've had for so many years, paid off, and practicing with our coaches. That was great with them, too, because they were so excited for us.
Take us, was it something that kind of built up over time, or that year that you went and won the state championship? How did that all come about?
Definitely practicing over time, the same routine, same skills over time. And then at that point, it's just making everything so precise and knowing what you have to do and just going out there and doing it.
How would you describe the feeling of knowing everything you've put into it and you're state champion?
It's undescribable. It's amazing. Like, you don't actually know until it happens. You see the other scores. You see your score, but you never know what's the highest score until you're there. Everybody's there. Your parents are watching, your siblings. It's great.
Where is it held in Michigan?
Everywhere. You have, it really depends. But regionals are out of state most of the time.
Okay. Where did you win your state championship?
I think I was in Michigan. There was a couple of them.
Sure.
Yeah.
You travel all over the place.
Yeah.
Hard to keep track. Speaking of senior year, though, okay, so now all of a sudden you have to make the decision. If I want to continue to do this, I got to get serious, like you said. How did acrobatics and tumbling even enter into your brain?
I have a couple teammates that actually go to Adrian.
Okay.
So then I watched them, and then I had a couple for gymnastics, but I wasn't really sure if that's what I wanted to do. Then I saw Concordia. They had acro. They had my program, and then I loved the team. So then I was might as well try it. Wasn't done with gymnastics yet, but wanted to try something new.
What ended up selling you to come to Concordia? Was it just the program itself and what you wanted to study, or did you enjoy the campus, the sites? What ultimately led you from Michigan across Lake Michigan to Mequon?
It was definitely the team. They treated me as family, even though they didn't know me. They welcomed me completely the day of. They were talking like they've known me forever, and it was just really welcoming.
I think one thing, if you haven't seen acrobatics and tumbling or practice, just the energy level. And everybody is so upbeat and positive, and it just seems like not only do you get that, on the mat competition, but you see it off it as well, right?
Definitely. You have to be. You have to trust each other to catch me, to catch each other. It's great.
I can't even imagine just the whole trust factor that goes into it. But, okay, so acrobatics and tumbling, you knew a couple of people that were competing at Adrian. Did you know anything really about this sport prior to signing up to be in it?
No, I had no idea. I just thought it looked cool, so I wanted to try it.
How long did it take you to get used to the sport?
Oh, the whole year.
All of last year?
All of it. So many new skills, new things, learning to not do the work and have the bases do it for you. It's all brand new.
Well, going back to last year, your first opportunity to compete with the Falcons was on February the 12th. That was against Trine. What do you remember about your first ever acrobatics and tumbling meet?
I was so nervous. It was so new, but I had my team to calm me down.
Was it a big difference going from practice to then competing in front of people? Or not really?
Not really, just because you still have your team there, and you have your family that comes too, so that's normal from gymnastics. It's more so the mental factor of realizing this is what you practice for, so it should be normal.
Is there a different energy level? Like, okay, you look inside the John Book Fieldhouse and this place is rocking when there's a typical meet for acrobatics and tumbling versus gymnastics. Is there a different energy level between the two, or is it comparable?
It's different but the same. Gymnastics, it's not as loud, but it's still the same, like, hyper, I guess.
Okay. Now, even with your gymnastics background, you mentioned it took some getting used to. It took the entire year. You look at your first season, you competed in compulsory, acro, pyramid, toss, tumbling, and team events. Of those, what is your favorite event? What do you find to be the most challenging of those events?
I love toss because it's so fun just to be thrown into the air. But the most challenging is acro. Just to trust yourself, not do the work, and just be out of your own head.
When you talk about toss, do you ever get nervous, though, that you're not going to get caught?
Sometimes, but for the most part, I trust them. I know they'll have me.
How does that work, the whole trust process? Do you guys spend time, the first couple of practices, getting used to, who can do what as far as the base and the top goes? Or is it just, from day one, you just hope the trust is there?
For the first couple weeks, it's just messing around, figuring out who goes where. You teach each other how to catch, how to do the skill. But once it gets more serious is when we stay together, and then you earn that trust.
Overall, how do you feel like your first season went?
It was better than I could have ever imagined. For a freshman coming in, it was outstanding.
And, you go from winning a state championship in gymnastics to now you at acrobatics and tumbling. You go on and you guys win the NCATA Division III championship. How wild was that weekend? First of all, you're back in Michigan. You're at Adrian, but how wild was that weekend to win that title?
It was just insane. You have the practices. You see the other team. But then it comes back to just knowing that this is what you practice for, and you need to take a step back, realize that this is just for fun. You're competing against yourselves, so if you can go out there and do what you practice for, you'll be great.
And the amazing thing, too, is that's year number one for you. I mean, you have this year and hopefully 2 more years of competing. That's a heck of a way to start your collegiate career. What's that mean to you, though, to know that you were part of a team that won the first ever Division III championship for acrobatics and tumbling?
It's amazing. I feel like we can go off of that and just only get better from here. We see what we can do, so now let's just try to make it 10 times better.
Absolutely, and that was the way her freshman season came to a close. How about this season? When you look at the roster, are there a lot of new faces, or is it pretty much the same team back from last year?
There's a couple new, but they're all so strong and so talented, and I feel we can do the same thing.
So how's the team chemistry right now?
It's amazing. It's just like last year, all family, all friends. If I need something, I go to them.
And with that being said, I take it if you're a newcomer and you, like they were for you, everyone's just welcoming, so it's they fit right in, the newcomers.
They do. We all welcome them. Team bonding, dinner, lunch, you name it. We're all together.
Absolutely. That sounds like a lot of fun. And for the acrobatics and tumbling team, the season was supposed to start against Adrian earlier, but that was a forfeited win for the Falcons. Not enough athletes to compete for Adrian. They will see each other again in Michigan in the not-too-distant future. But you guys did finally get the opportunity at least to compete against another team. That was dubbed Senior Day against Augustana out of South Dakota. That was back on the 19th of February. It was a tough loss, but when you look at that first opportunity to compete before fans here inside the John Book Fieldhouse, in your opinion, what went well that day for the team, and maybe what areas do you point at and go, we can get better here?
It was great. We all learned each other that day. We all learned what we were good at, what we're not so good at, but we're all good. And it was just more so learning each other, learning the meet. The freshmen have never done this before. So it was a really good learning day for them. And I think we just keep doing what we do.
Is there a big difference? Because I know you got the opportunity back on February 12th, even though Adrian wasn't able to compete and come here, you guys still, went out there and performed with no opponent. Is there a big difference, just your team alone versus having an opponent across the way, or is it, all the same?
I actually think the opponent makes it better. We're all so much more motivated. Like, we're there. We know what to do. We all hype each other up. It's fun.
That is one of the neat things about the sport is you talk about, everyone's kind of cheering on each other. Even though you're competing against, in this case, Augustana, they're cheering for you guys, you're cheering for them. Because, in the whole scheme of things, you're all trying to get better and learn from each other. And that's one of the neat things when you come to one of these meets here inside the John Book Field. You get to see that all transpire. Now, you're listed as a top, and that's your position in acrobatics and tumbling. Has your role on this team changed at all from last year to this, or is it kind of the same for you?
It's kind of the same. I'm still always in the air. The only difference is maybe I'll front a couple tosses, but it's still the same.
And you talked about just the, building the trust with the base and getting used to that. When you're on top and trying to maintain balance, and in some instances, how do you go about focusing on what you have to do?
You just learn who your base is, and then you learn who you are. So once you know what they're capable of, you just kind of go from that. So if you feel the slightest move, you know what they're going to do, so you just do your job.
You're number 8 when you look at jersey numbers. Any significance to why number 8? That's what was given to you?
That was given.
Do you have a favorite number? Like, if you could choose a jersey number, what number would you pick?
I don't know. I don't think I have one.
No, okay. How much time and effort, when you look at the team event, that's one of the fun parts of the meet is I call it the finale, the extravaganza at the end. The team event all comes together, wraps up the whole meet. How much time and effort goes into just performing that team event?
It's a lot of effort. Even when you don't see it, coach has to put it together. She has to figure out what goes where. The music has to be cut. We have to practice on the side. It's a lot.
Who gets to pick the music?
The seniors.
Okay.
We all put in our favorite songs, and they get to go from there.
Do you enjoy the team event?
I do.
Is it? And everyone's got to be in sync too, which is, just wild when you watch it all play out. So upcoming for the Falcons, you look at acrobatics and tumbling. They will be in action again Saturday at Trine. It's going to be a 3 o'clock Central Time start. First of 3 consecutive road meets, and then next time at home will be Alumni Day coming up on the 26th of March against Trine. That's a 12 noon start here inside the John Book Fieldhouse. How excited are you to get back out on the mat and forget practices, but finally compete again against somebody other than yourselves when you guys compete against Trine on Saturday?
It'll be so fun. Trine has gotten so good. It's going to be a great competition.
Is there, it's a friendly rivalry, I'm sure, but has there become kind of a friendly rivalry between the likes of like Adrian and Trine, a couple of schools that you guys see on a regular basis?
Oh, definitely. It's just a rivalry everywhere.
And again, you'll get the opportunity to see Adrian and Trine a couple of times on the horizon. Let's get to know you a little bit better as we wrap things up. Pre-meet routine. So it's meet day. Do you have a routine? How do you go about getting yourself hyped up, pumped up, ready to go?
I always wake up a couple hours early just so I know I'm not going to be stressed. I'll do my hair the night before, then get ready, eat my breakfast, and then drink a Celsius.
Any particular breakfast?
Just
No.
a granola bar.
And I've asked other acrobatics and tumbling athletes in previous years this question because it's no secret. You guys have early morning practices. Are you a morning person?
I never was until I came here.
Is it now kind of like routine now? Even if you don't practice, you kind of automatically wake up?
Definitely.
So you have the pre-meet routine. Favorite type of music?
I like country music.
Country.
Hmm.
If you could pick, when it's your senior year, music for the team routine, would you go country? Would you try to incorporate country in some way, shape, or form?
I wouldn't, just because country is our theme this year.
It is?
Yes.
Okay. Favorite thing about Concordia?
The lake.
The lake. Does it look better on this side of the lake versus the Michigan side? Or
They look identical.
Identical? Okay. Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Christmas. Biggest fear?
Snakes.
Have you been around many snakes?
No.
No? Do you like spiders?
I don't mind them as long as they're
Okay.
not big.
Dog or cat person?
Dog.
Has it always been that way?
No.
Just
changed.
okay. Favorite type of candy?
Sour Patch Kids.
Has that always been your favorite kind of candy?
Yes.
Favorite season? So we have obviously fall, winter, spring, summer.
Summer.
What fun activities do you like to do like in Michigan in the summertime?
Paddleboarding with my brother.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Finally, your major at Concordia.
OT.
OT. To wrap it all up, do you guys set individual and team goals throughout the course of the season? And if so, what goals do you have for the remainder of this season?
We all set individual, but personally, I want to be more consistent with all of my skills. I know I can do it, so I just have to trust myself. And as a team, we want to build our tumbling. We have great tumblers, so I think we all can do really good.
Well, Alexis, all the best this season. Thanks for coming on. And again, they'll be in action this weekend against Trine. And then you can see the acrobatics and tumbling team behind us here inside the John Book Fieldhouse on the 26th of March. That's against Trine at 12 noon. That will do it for Falcon Focus. Thanks for watching this week's edition. And again, we take spring break off along with the student athletes, and we'll be with you again. First of 7 straight editions coming up on the 28th of March. And until then, thanks for watching Falcon Focus.